Why should you never go to trial when you're dealing with the feds? So I was under investigation starting in about 2006, and I wasn't indicted until 2011. So they can investigate for years and years before they indict you. When they indict you, the indictment process is like this. They go before a grand jury. You aren't there, your side isn't presented, and they just lay out whatever they want. And you're always going to get indicted. It's not a unbiased process. The saying goes, you could indict a ham sandwich, which means that anybody could be indicted. Once you're indicted, you can choose whether you want to do a speedy trial, or in my case, we tried to basically talk the government out of going forward with the case, explaining to them why the real estate transactions that I was involved in I wasn't guilty, was what we were trying to explain. Basically saying that the banks were fully aware, because the government's theory was that I had committed fraud against the bank. And our theory was that the bank was a willing participant in the transaction, that they were fully aware of the values of the home and what they were doing. In the end, I remember sitting outside the grand jury, because they can call anyone into the grand jury. They called my son, my mother. It was pretty traumatic, just sitting out there waiting for my family to come out and knowing that, like, they can basically do whatever they want. You're kind of helpless when it comes to this. They have the money, they have the nuclear weapon, and you don't have much. And I remember the one of the agents looking at me and saying, this will be over soon. You know, once you make a deal and everything will be done. And I looked at him and I said, I'm not pleading guilty. I said, that's not my plan. And he said, we get 97% of people that we go after. And the ones we don't get on the first time, we just indict them with something else. You should really plead guilty. And I remember feeling so helpless. And it's true. When you're dealing with the feds, they are going to keep on keeping on until they find something. Now, I recently went to California and testified in a federal case where the jury hung on the first go around. I was a witness. And then they tried the case again and the jury hung again, which means that the jury couldn't decide. The government can keep coming back and keep coming back. And I think that there's just a lot of people out there that think if the government charged you with something, you're guilty. And so it's really hard to beat the feds, and that's why you should plead guilty.